Some people feel most alive in the quietest corners of their own homes. They don't crave crowded streets or the attention of strangers. Instead, they find comfort in familiar walls and the sound of stillness. To outsiders, they might look like people avoiding life. But they're not running away from the world. They're running toward peace. There's a psychology behind this preference. Research suggests that people who love staying home tend to have highly active inner worlds. Their imaginations, their ideas, their emotions, everything is vivid. Inside their minds, there is movement, depth, and meaning. The home isn't a hiding place. It's a sanctuary where all of that can breathe. Psychologists sometimes call this high internal self-presence, the ability to feel more connected to your inner world than the outer one. These people don't need loud excitement to feel joy. They can look out a window, hold a warm drink, and experience a kind of fullness that others chase in distant places. Their hearts don't beat faster in crowds, they beat steadier in silence. But here's the interesting part. It wasn't always like this. Many of them once tried to fit into the fast-moving world. They tried to match the energy of friends who loved parties, adventure, and constant motion. And somewhere along the way, they realized something. Their calm wasn't a flaw. Their desire for solitude wasn't a weakness. It was simply who they were. I remember the first time I truly understood this. I used to think staying home would make me feel left out. But instead, I felt understood by the space around me. I realized I didn't need noise to feel alive. I didn't need everyone's eyes on me to feel seen. I began to value the sound of turning pages more than the sound of applause. That's when I understood. Peace is also a way of living. Staying home doesn't mean being alone. Sometimes it means being with yourself and truly listening. That's something the busy world often forgets to do. There's a unique trait shared by many people who prefer staying home: introspection. They think deeply. Every small moment can become a story. Every memory, a lesson. They feel emotions fully. Joy becomes rich. Sadness becomes art. Hope becomes direction. They don't rush through their feelings just to keep up with others. They take the time to understand them. Scientific studies even show that people who enjoy solitude score high in creativity, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Their calm allows them to understand people better, even when they themselves aren't always understood. But sometimes the world mislabels them. You're missing out. You should socialize more. Don't you get bored? These words can hurt, because they imply that homebodies are somehow incomplete. Yet many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and innovators were homebodies. They weren't always among the crowds. They were in their rooms, refining ideas that would change the world. Maybe that's the hidden truth. Silence has its own language. It teaches patience. It teaches observation. It teaches a kind of strength that doesn't need attention to exist. Still, a curiosity arises. If home feels so safe, what are they protecting themselves from? Sometimes it's overstimulation. People who love staying home can be deeply affected by noise, chaos, or emotional unpredictability. Their nervous system craves stability, a place where energy can settle instead of constantly react. Home gives them control over their environment, and that control gives them peace. Sometimes it's trust. They give their heart carefully to only a few people, not because they're cold, but because they feel everything with great intensity. They understand the value of emotional safety, and sometimes it's simply a preference. Not a fear, not a barrier, not a story of avoidance. Just the choice to spend time in a space that feels warm and familiar. They have hobbies that don't require a crowd. Reading, gaming, painting, watching their favorite films, building something personal. Joy becomes a quiet ritual instead of a loud celebration. They measure happiness in moments, not events. But here's a secret they rarely say out loud. They love deeply. They care in silence. They notice everything. Because when you remove the distractions, the heart learns to focus. If you're someone who loves staying home, you may have felt misunderstood. You may have questioned whether your personality is something that needs fixing. You may have wondered if something is wrong with you, because you don't always enjoy loud gatherings. But what if nothing is wrong? What if the world simply needs more people like you? People who listen before they speak, people who think before they act, people who feel before they pretend. I once thought the world would forget me if I stayed in my room too long. But then I noticed something. The world inside my mind was flourishing. Thoughts grew like gardens. Ideas kept me more awake than any late-night party. I found meaning in the simplicity of my own space, and slowly I realized, home isn't four walls. Home is a state of mind. The truth is, people who love staying home aren't avoiding life. They're living it with intention. They don't want to waste words on small talk or time on shallow experiences. They want meaning, authenticity, and real connection, even if those connections are few. Psychologists say that people who prefer solitude tend to be highly self-aware. They can recognize their own emotions clearly. They understand who they are, what drains them, and what nourishes them. Most people go their whole lives without knowing these things, but homebodies learn it early. This doesn't mean they never feel lonely. Unwanted loneliness and chosen solitude are not the same thing. Chosen solitude gives strength. There are days when staying home feels like protection, a breath of relief from a world that asks too much. And there are days when it feels like freedom, the freedom to simply be. You are not strange for loving the comfort of home. You are not unambitious. You are not fragile. You are not missing out on life. You are building a life that doesn't exhaust you. And one day, when the moment is right, when the outside world feels a little more aligned with your heart, you will step out. Not because you were pushed, but because you chose to. And that choice will make the outside feel even more beautiful. Until then, drink your coffee slowly. Keep discovering the worlds inside your own mind. Keep protecting your peace. Keep loving quietly, but deeply. Because the people who love staying home are the ones who make the world feel like a place worth returning to.